Break out the astrology charts because we're looking at a crystal ball with potentially a whole lot of red, and it's not cardinal red.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off of your first purchase. Happy Wednesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. We had previously discussed the prospects of landing a transfer guard from Tennessee in Freddie Dilione. He's from the area, or grew up in Fayetteville, attended Word of God Christian Academy right here in Raleigh, picks up a crystal ball on the same day as his visit here to NC State. Kenton, is it happening? Is this really going to happen?
You know, it's feeling like it is, and I've been monitoring the transfer portal for lots of reasons all throughout the ACC for football, but there is obviously basketball news going on as well here. And I'll tell you what, Freddie Dilione becoming a flip is, if you've been keeping up with recent football news in terms of the transfer portal and recruiting, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
There's some things that are being speculated about, and y'all know me. I tell you when I know a fact. I tell you when I hear speculation. And there's some things that are going on around the ACC. It's not super surprising to see that Mr. Dilione is now picked to be a member of the Wolfpack in this upcoming season because, again, this new world that we're living in. There's a lot of things to navigate, and roster management is more difficult than ever, but the way in which sports are intertwined in that kind of roster management is appearing now more than ever. And I'll just leave it at that in terms of it is working out in NC State's favor in this regard for this young man.
I'll cut right to the chase. We're looking at Louisville, and it smelled like broke over there. We are hearing that Louisville may be anticipating some problems in NIL. And the reason that we're seeing this, not only for some tweets, we've seen some things potentially behind the scenes going on between the way that the NIL is being handled out there in Kentucky. But not only does Freddie Dilione pick up a crystal ball, of course, on the same day as his visit here to NC State, you see several players of the Louisville football team decide to enter the transfer portal, and another name has potentially emerged as another transfer portal target from Louisville basketball to NC State basketball. We could be double dipping and taking another player from the Louisville Cardinal. That tells me there's something going on over there in the KFC Yum Center. There is something going on over there in Jack Harlow's hometown. And NC State is looking to eat every single crumb that they're leaving behind.
You know, Grayson's a much bolder man than me in this regard because, again, I don't have confirmed, and there were some tweets like by running back who transferred in from Toledo, who is now transferring out, Penny Boone, who it would imply that what Grayson is saying is right. But again, that's one source. It could be sour grapes, whatever the case may be. I'm going to tell you this much, okay? It's like if we're talking about the dating market, right? And this fine, everything you want. Okay, this woman got it all. She's the goods. She's got everything, and she's off the market. And all of a sudden, she's back on the market. Do I care why? Am I gonna figure out, hey, what's going on over there? Like, did he talk to you bad? Like, did he run out of money? What's going? I don't give a damn about none of that. All I know is she back on the market. Hey, how you doing, boo? Listen, let's have a nice little time. I don't care if you want to go to Chipotle. I don't care if you want to go to McDonald's. I don't care if you want to Sullivan's, get a steak the size of my back. Let's figure it out, baby, because that's what you're gonna do. All right. So if I'm NC State right now, again, I don't care what they got going on or why these players are leaving. All I know is that they are leaving. which means they are available, which means I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to, hey, man, how you doing? I don't know if you know this or not, but we just finished up a Final Four run over here in Raleigh. We want you to be a part of the next one. Call me back soon, Coach Keatts. All right, bye. Take it easy.
I think that is a really good analogy for what we're currently seeing. Right now, this is the time to strike if you're a Kevin Keatts in NC State. You have a guy that was heavily anticipated to jump over to Louisville after getting in the transfer portal from Tennessee. Maybe some uncertainty is going on behind the scenes over there. The time is right now for NC State. You just had this guy on campus on Tuesday. All the bells, all the whistles, and let him know that this is the place to be. And we've talked at lengths about Dilione being familiar with the Raleigh area. He attended Word of God, like we mentioned. You feel like you have a ton of momentum that just kind of got dumped in your lap for a really good prospect. Freddie Dilione is a really good basketball prospect. And I say prospect because he is still relatively unproven at the college level. But as far as the high school recruiting, he was up there. And when I say up there, I mean the number one prospect out of the state of North Carolina in 2022. So you're looking at a guy that is highly regarded, probably still feels like he has a lot to prove, and I'm sure he does feel that way. The eligibility here is another key. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember if he redshirted or not this season, but at the very least, he's got 3 years of eligibility. So perhaps he doesn't turn out to be a big-time impact guy this year. If you can keep him here and build on that, he suddenly becomes potentially a huge piece for 2025 and beyond. All that really matters is for next year at the moment. You want to build immediately, but Freddie Dilione can be a major piece in that. I do think he has starter potential right off of the bat. If you can get him into the system and really see what he can do, I think many of us would be surprised at what he might put out there.
Yeah, he's long, he's athletic, he has all of the makings of a really good defender right away. And we've talked a lot about, kind of filling that Casey Morsell role of being the primary defender of the other team's best guards and all that. That's going to be available, right? Jaden Taylor is a guy that's going to be a contention for it as well, but that's going to be available. And even if Jaden Taylor does step up into that role, and then somebody needs to step into Jaden Taylor's role of that guy who can defend wings and guards in a very similar vein there. So, there's room for Freddie Dilione on the squad, okay? There is room. The scholarship count matches up. The financials seem to match up in terms of NC State's NIL situation here. I'm not mad at it one bit.
This is also where it becomes key again. I mentioned potentially another Louisville player may be joining the NC State Wolfpack in the near future, and he is a combo guard. That's exactly what we would still be missing. If you add Dilione and we talked about Dontrez Styles yesterday, certainly seems like that may or may not happen. Yeah. This third potential guard could be that last kind of scoring piece that you're looking for. The only commitment we've still received is Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, formerly of Louisville. This portal season is crazy. It's nowhere near done. There's going to be several more names that jump in the portal that NC State still may be interested in. It's still very fun to follow all of this because it is chaos every single day. And again, this is only beginning. The basketball window closes on May 1st. So we still got, 2 good weeks of chaos here?
And that's when it closes to enter. So it doesn't close for, if you enter on that day and you decide, all right, I want to visit around for 4 or 5 schools and go wherever, you can still do that. It just closes for entry. So at that point in time, you can no longer enter into the portal. But there's a lot of time left and there's a lot of movement left to be had in this portal.
The roster reconstruction is likely going to range into the summer. I mean, it did the last 2 seasons, and we've seen how that has panned out for us. We need NC State to capitalize on the best possible players at the right possible times, and this could feel like the perfect time to snag Freddie Dilione while Louisville has some things going on there. But that's none of our business. We're just trying to pick up a basketball team. That's all we know. Coming up next, we're getting into a potential football transfer that could be eyeing a return to NC State after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first sponsor of the day is Monopoly Go. Look, we've all been there, either as a player or as a fan. It's halftime, the scoreboard's not looking good, you're feeling low, and you're not sure that you or your team can pull out this win. But that's when you dig deep. You lift your head up and say to yourself, it's time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right, we're talking about the Smash mobile hit game, Monopoly Go. This lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the same Monopoly game we all know and love, but it's on your phone. You can play this anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to all of your buddies. There is so much to do, including playing on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, making your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball, nonetheless, and you can charge other players rent for handling your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards to climb that leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go. It's now free on the App Store and on Google Play. Middle portion of our Wednesday show, now getting into some football transfer portal news. There's been some reports that NC State could be eyeing a reunion with defensive tackle Joshua Harris. Now, Joshua Harris, the name probably sounds familiar. It's because he spent 4 years in Raleigh. He entered the transfer portal last offseason, took his talents down to Oxford to play for the Ole Miss Rebs, finds himself in the transfer portal again, and the news is there's mutual interest between Josh and NC State. Kenton, how significant do you think this reunion could be?
Oh, very. I mean, with all due respect, you and I had talked off air about the need for a backup defensive tackle and about the fact that, with all due respect, some of the backup defensive tackle that we'd seen in the past, especially with C.J. Clark gone, was not good enough. It was not at the level of a team that is looking to go where this NC State team is looking to go. And so in Josh Harris, you're bringing in a guy that's starter level. You're bringing in a guy that, if Cleveland weren't such a dynamic playmaker at the defensive tackle position, Harris is absolutely suitable for, hey, we need you to plug gaps. We need you to disrupt. We need you to eat blockers. Like, that's what we need you to do in this role. And he could do that well. He just doesn't have that same ability upfield in terms of not just freeing up others, but making the play himself. That is, and again, that's not a disrespect or affront to him. Cleveland is special. I have rarely ever seen a nose guard, a true zero technique, make as many plays as he does in the backfield on the other side of the line of scrimmage. So, I think that Josh Harris, that'd be a great get for NC State. I know it'd be a reunion. I know it'd be him coming back. Well, you know what? Play that mace. Welcome back. Welcome back, all right? Because, great things are happening here. And Josh Harris could be a part of something special if he were to decide to come back.
I think a decision like this one makes all the sense in the world. For NC State, you're entering the spring transfer portal window, and you're looking for depth. And Josh Harris can provide that probably and some. He's familiar with the system. He knows Tony Gibson. The coaching staff knows him. So both sides basically know what to expect from each other. I would think that Josh would see an uptick in production from his years past here at NC State. He's going to get a decent amount of snaps behind Cleveland or wherever else they decide to move him around. And he has a ton of experience, not exactly snap experience, but 5 years of college football experience. 4 of those were spent here in Raleigh. This feels like a really smart move for NC State to jump on board with. He provides that depth. Like Kenton told you, he can play starter snaps. He has the capability of doing so. And he's just kind of been waiting for his opportunity to really jump out and, blow up, make a name for himself. And would we expect Cleveland to still be the guy? Yes, absolutely. But you would feel really good about Josh Harris being his potential backup here at State. Another thing that makes this sweepstakes, I guess I'll call it, so interesting, supposedly the other main team that may be in contention for the services of Josh Harris are none other than the Dirty Foot Club. I'll say this, and then I'll kick it back to you, Kenton. If you're Joshua Harris and you've been a part of NC State for 4 years, and you've seen what we've done to them these past 3 years, how much of there is a decision to really be made here? You know the production that NC State gets out of their defense. You know what Tony Gibson is capable of cooking up year in and year out. You know the amount of players that NC State has been sending to the NFL combines and then the draft and then subsequently the league. How much of a competition can this honestly be? I mean, with all due respect here, we just saw Jakeem Harris jumping sides, and good luck to him. But Josh Harris, it makes infinitely more sense to come back here to NC State than it does to even consider being a dirty foot clubber.
Let me tell you something, okay? Josh, you don't want that. You don't want that, man. You're better than that. You're better than that. Roll back that film from last year, and there was a specific play, that inside zone. I believe we actually had that as our locked on look of the week. It might have been our locked on look of the week.
I think it was.
That week. Brother, they form a crescent moons when you run zone against them. Them boys don't even know how to just bend the knee and make a pile when you're getting drove up out of there. Them young men were getting tossed out the club like they tried to give, like Grayson tried to use my ID to get in. You understand? That's how badly the bouncers were telling them young men, not today, not in this club. And you want to be a part of that? Best defensive player going to the NFL? A soft team, soft program that's never been known for toughness, and you want to be a part of that? I'm going to tell you this. If you decide to go over there, hey, more power to you, brother. More power to you. But what I know, but I tell you all the time what I speculate and what I know and the difference between the two. What I know for a fact, that's a soft program. And I know for a fact that barring some catastrophic injuries, this streak is going up to 4. This streak is going up to 4. You can take that to the bank and cash it right now. This streak is going up to 4, barring a complete and utter letdown from NC State.
You can play on a defensive line that was brought to you by the letter C, or you can play on a defensive line that's brought to you by the letter W. The choice is yours. And again, if you're Joshua Harris and you're seeing the buzz around NC State heading into this season, and you see what is on the table for NC State this year, in your last year of eligibility, come on, dog. This is a no-brainer. Again, you got other stipulations. We fully understand that. There's always more than meets the eye in decisions like these. But from what does meet the eye, come on home. Come on home. Put on that red jersey. Let's get back to work. We need you here. We want you here. You can make life-lasting memories right back here in Raleigh. Make that move, brother.
In the words of Boss Man D-Lo, you want to boss up your life? All you got to do is get in with me. Get in with me. Come on. Get in with this Wolfpack team, because you ain't bossing up your life getting whooped on 39-20. You ain't bossing up your life losing to UVA. That ain't bossing up your life. But what do I know?
Coming up next, we're bidding farewell to our sweet prince, Ernest Ross, after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second sponsor of the day is Yahoo Finance. Wouldn't it be great if you could see all of your investments and retirement accounts in only one place? With Yahoo Finance, you can consolidate your views from multiple accounts into one hub and access the expert analysis you need to tend to your entire portfolio with confidence. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or you're looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data that you need in one singular place. They are the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. You can securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors, and it's exactly how Yahoo Finance ensures that you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, and that is Yahoo Finance, the number one financial destination. YahooFinance.com. YahooFinance. YahooFinance.com. Last couple minutes here on Wednesday. Now bidding farewell to NC State forward Ernest Ross, who officially announced that he will be entering the transfer portal on Tuesday. This comes after a little bit of an awkward sequence. We thought he was entering, was it last week or the week before? Found out that he had not made such a decision. Fast forward to just yesterday, he is now in the portal. But this sucks. I mean, we're sad to see him go. We did talk about this last week in that we fully understand this move. I think it makes a lot of sense for both parties involved. We want to see him maximize his potential. And if you're looking at the roster for NC State next year, it simply just might not be here. And that's okay. That's sometimes an unfortunate circumstance of this time of the year. There's a lot of tough conversations between players and coaching staff. There's a lot of tough conversations of what roster construction needs to be looking like moving forward. And I really just feel that Ernest Ross is just found himself in a very unfortunate circumstance, almost like a wrong place, wrong time type of thing. That's probably not the right analogy, but you get what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah,
and
he ended up being an odd man out, and it's, with minutes, with playing time and all that, sometimes it ends up being musical chairs. Sometimes it ends up being that you're in a position where there is so much talent at a certain position, or a certain scheme only allows for so many of a certain position to play, that you just end up being left without a chair. And that's kind of where Ernest Ross felt like he was going. And we don't know the exact conversations that were had. The conversation could have been very differently than Ernest deciding this. It could have been the team saying, hey, you need to seek out greener pastures elsewhere, whatever the case may be. But what we do know, again, we don't go off speculation here. We go off what we know, and what we know is that Ernest Ross was as fierce and loyal of a teammate as you could have possibly seen. He was as much of an energy guy as we have seen here in quite some time, and he's a special young man. Basketball aside, not talking about rebounds, points, assists, just who he is as a human being. He's a very special young man. And so we wish Ernest Ross the best in his future endeavors wherever he lands. And I mean wherever, of course, except for the Dirty Foot Club. But anywhere else that he were to land, best of luck to you, brother.
There's a reason that a guy like Ernest so quickly became a crowd and fan favorite despite not getting a whole lot of time on the court. And that is because of the energy that he brought to this program. And we all know the 3 goggles that he put on display, that much of the chagrin of Jim Boeheim in the ACC tournament. Appreciate that, Jim, by the way. You see what that won us. But, maybe while you can replace a position like Ernest Ross, you cannot replace the person that was in that position. You cannot replace the energy, his personality, and the way that he could spark this team in seemingly ways that nobody else really could. And I saw a lot of folks reference the Miami home game that we had 2 seasons ago, where Ernest came off the bench, and I think he gave us like 19 or maybe 21 points. And that quickly became the Ernest Ross game with the trademark on the end of it. Almost single-handedly brought us back from the dead and won us that game in overtime. And that was just such a special moment because the game felt like it was getting out of hand. And out of all the places you find a hero, it's Ernest Ross coming into the game and just playing his absolute heart out. And that moment really endeared him to this fan base. And we'll always remember him for moments like that. And so you simply cannot replace a guy like Ernest. It sucks to see him go like this. Again, we don't want to speculate on why this decision was made. I think maybe you can start to connect some dots, but that's neither here nor there. It sucks to see it end like this. It is very bittersweet. We wish him nothing but the best. And he will forever be remembered here in Raleigh as an ACC champion and a key piece to what became a Final Four run and really reignited the faith in the school, the faith in the NC State basketball program, all of that. Ernest Ross had a massive hand in doing so. And so we're forever thankful for his time here in Raleigh. We hope to see him flourish at literally any other school than the Dirty Foot Club, like literally any of them. We just want to see him go to a place where he can still be Ernest and shine. That is what he deserves. And there are hundreds of schools that would be lucky to have a guy like Ernest Ross on their squad. So wherever he lands, you know that we will be fans of Ernest Ross until the sun explodes. We wish him nothing but the best. That'll do it for us here on Wednesday. As always, be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Tell us what you think about potentially adding Freddie Dilione after he picks up a crystal ball to attend NC State. Tell us what you think about the potential reunion between NC State football and defensive tackle Joshua Harris. If you like it, if you love it, maybe even hate it, tell us what you think in the comments. And if you have not already, be sure to mash that subscribe button. We will see you all tomorrow. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.